Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astroguide Mysore. So today let us understand the combination of Venus and Ketu. Venus and Rahu, we have just spoken about it yesterday in an elaborate talk. So today we are discussing the same planet Venus and with an abstract planet Ketu. Rahu and Ketu, when we are defining these two nodes, Rahu is everything of everything, and Ketu is something like isolation, separation, elimination, getting into solitude, serene, silent, mute, getting lost, aloof. You can get a lot of synonyms for this Ketu.
I'll give you an example of Rahu and Ketu. When a person goes to a buffet, so a person with Rahu will take everything.
Yeah.
But a person with a Ketu, strong Ketu,
He'll be selective.
Very, very selective.
So, as my wife here is giving a small example on Rahu and Ketu, so you can see the person in the Rahu is like, we are here talking about a Rahu which is not fully matured, not a matured Rahu. A matured Rahu, first of all, would not enter the buffet. So, if a unmatured or an immature Rahu would enter a buffet,
Any other planet.
who is afflicted also, would unnecessarily load his plate, whether he eats it or not. He would have that aspiration to simply load the plate. But an unmatured Ketu would be like, I don't know what to eat. Always confused. So let us talk about a matured Rahu. A matured Rahu will eat what he likes and he will not even turn and see the other things for the whole buffet itself. And he will again come and fill his plate. He will not limit his food. He will eat fully. He'll fill his tummy, but he will eat what he likes. How much ever he is asked to see the other 49 items out of the 50, he will be stuck to one. That is Rahu. Focus. A matured Rahu will have ultimate focus. A matured Ketu is a very picky guy, very sensitive, very perfectionist with regard to what he wants. He will be very selective. And they are Ketu with Venus. If very strongly posited, these people are hygiene freaks. Rahu and Venus, I had yesterday spoken about it, that these people, if it goes to the sixth house, they can get problems of STD and all those things. Venus and Ketu don't get STD. They get infected because they are too, hygiene freaks, and they don't get involved with such problems. And when they get infected very strongly because they are not used to that particular environment. That is why we always see people traveling from one country to another country. Just an example. It's not that everybody who travels to that country should have a Venus Ketu combination. It's just like that. Just an example that they are afraid of contracting new strains or viruses or infections. Venus Ketu, particularly in the sixth house, can cause this. Let me come from the first house. In this particular thing, the research has been done very clearly with regard to the placement from the Lagna till the 12th house, because to understand Venus and Ketu, it is not an easy subject at all. It requires a lot of years of experience, and what we have done also will not be covering that much, because we are also still growing. We are not fully experienced. Let us come to the fact that we are all still students. So, when this particular combination is in the Lagna, the Ketu's influence over Venus can cause obsessive compulsive disorders. A person who is not bothered about what surrounds him, and he is always within his own thoughts, something like obsessive in his thoughts, very critical, sarcastic, and sometimes negatively positive. Then with Mercury or something like that, he becomes pessimistic, cynical. Okay. But if Venus and Ketu is well posited, these people can be very good editors. They can find the smallest of the faults or mistakes. So these people are regarded as one of the finest editors in the music industry, any fine art industry, like for sound editing, light editing, script editing. These people are very acute with their mindset. So let us go to the second house. I'll be giving only some shots only. I cannot be giving you the whole thing because it takes a lot of time. So when we go to the second house, and for this combination from the Lagna in the second house, they speak very less because Ketu is mute. Venus usually does not like gossiping but loves to get involved socially. But when it gets hit with Ketu, it's actually a hit. They unnecessarily open up topics which are unconventional, and they get unnecessarily into problematic situations. They Ketu cannot simply agree, and sometimes they will not agree to disagree also.
Like talking too much of truth which is not required.
Yeah, it is like being too blunt, too sharp, very difficult to digest truth. Sometimes Ketu can be, will Ketu, a person with second house Ketu can talk in such a way that it is the truth, but the person who is listening to it will be hurt immensely. So this has to be changed, because I will get comments. I know I will get comments for this video because people have Venus Ketu in the second house and they will think that they are the best out of the lot. Yes, they will think like that because Ketu is a perfectionist and Venus is supreme, the planet which thinks that it's the queen, top class, like the Jupiter Ketu problem. And Jupiter thinks that he's the best advisor, and Ketu with Jupiter makes him a perfectionist with regard to counseling. He'll tell who else can do what I do. So same way. So I will get some feedback, but it's okay. They are peculiar in eating habits. They are very picky, as we spoke about earlier. Going to the third house, expression, difficulty in expressing things. So, speaking, language, vocabulary, all these three are related to Moon, Mercury, Venus. Speaking very well with a good tone and a beautiful voice, Venus. Talking a lot and not having much of a difficulty in speaking in or communicating is Moon. You need to have the flow of language and the vocabulary, Moon. The communication, the art of communication, this, the hold over the language, Mercury. So you need Venus, Moon, and Mercury well placed in a chart for communication. And Ketu there, who is actually a mute, will disrupt. And I have seen many charts with Venus and Ketu in the third house. They want to do a lot of things in life, but the effort is very less. And the third house, the house of activity, with only Ketu in the third house, not a problem. But Venus, not a good planet to be in the third house because it will give you unnecessary lethargy. That is, planning and planning and planning and no execution. Because there is that, apprehension. Going to the fourth house, beautifully, aesthetically built. My wife has written all these beautiful words. Beautiful and aesthetically built compact house. See, beauty and aesthetics are for Venus, but a compact house, which is a no nonsense house where things are all arranged and meticulously planned, because it is Venus Ketu. And with minimal designing and having all the features required for a house which fulfills a residential house, okay, and more towards natural taste. Venus Ketu, there is another thing very important. They don't like anything fake. Very tough. Venus Rahu, as we said, if Rahu is weak with Venus, usually people would not want to show their real self and would fake a little bit. That is with a weak Rahu. A strong Rahu, anyway, they don't bother to even present themselves to others. They do what they do. Whether you like it or not, you want to stay, or else who bothers? So, a strong, mature Rahu will not even bother if they are dressed shabby or neat, or they are not bothered. They are dressed for the occasion. If they are in an industry, they will be in the industrial jumper and they will be working. They are not bothered. But Venus and Ketu, they are more practical and realists. So they never like anything fake. But in the same position, if Venus is weak and Ketu is weak, these people look very shabby, unclean, unkept. So that's a little tough combination for them. So, fourth house. So, going to the fifth house, the fifth house is a mantrasthana, putrasthana, purvapunyasthana, house of imagination, jnana, and also the house of speculation. So let us see. Ketu and Venus in the fifth house, no speculation. Not good. Whatever it is, however good the placement is. Fine arts, the fifth house is also for fine arts. Excellent fine arts, beautiful poetry, most intricate, secret, ideology, excellent novelists, imagination. Okay. If it is weakly posited, then problems in progeny, having, the difficulties in conceiving. Same position for a male chart, not a good thing because Ketu represents eunuchs, and it also represents dysfunction, fertility dysfunction, and Venus very clearly represents the fertility in a male, and also in a female it represents the eggs. So ovarian disorders, when I have seen some charts, untimely, sudden abortions can happen because Venus is for the eggs and Ketu is there to disrupt. So we need to see how this position is playing, whether Ketu is ahead of Venus or Venus is ahead of Ketu, who is more dominant in whether any one of them is in Gopuramsha, Pushkaramsha. We need to see all this. Simply talking just like that over the surface, because I am doing only basics now. Do not take it to your charts and keep pondering, oh, this did not happen to me, that did not happen to me. Please learn first. Do not apply. Please learn, because after 4,000 or 5,000 videos, I think I'll be able to complete the basics. Even if you go to the college for doing a degree, let us say, if you are studying 6 hours a day for 5 years, you will be able to complete one particular course. So 6 hours a day, let us say for 100 days, it is something like 600 hours. And for 5 years is like around 3000 hours of study. And if I am doing 15-minute videos or 20-minute videos, it is 3 times, nearly 4 times. I need to do 12,000 videos to complete the course in that style. So people, please do not judge with just 600 videos. Please wait. There is a lot to come. So intricacies will be answered. Please don't jump on things like that. We need it now. We need it now. It doesn't happen. I'm trying to do it. If it is available somewhere else in YouTube, please go ahead and study that. I will take my time because I need to do my research before I cannot simply tell something. So, cutting short that thing, Venus Ketu is a tough combination to understand. Going to the, I'm not yet finished the fifth house. Skilled in Vedas, scriptures, philosophical, sharp mind, acute knowledge. They can split every intricate research into big topics, and these are the people who know when you have a super strong Venus Ketu, these are the people who can easily get a Nobel Prize for physics. And these people can go into nuclear physics, they can go into deep subjects, not only physics, because Venus is life sciences, any science. Going to the sixth house, health problems, keyhole surgeries. Health problems is a very generalistic word, but still you should understand that it includes a lot of things. Again, as I told that sixth house Venus can give difficulties in progeny with Ketu, that too. Blood circulation, because Venus means veins and Ketu means disruption, and keyhole surgeries because it is Ketu once again. Non-invasive heart surgeries is seen in this particular thing. Sudden blockage in certain areas, wherever the capillaries are, wherever the blood circulation is happening, sudden blockages can happen, because if it is a weak Ketu, afflicted Ketu, let us say there is another planet like Sun along with this combination, the heart which is represented by Sun, blood which is represented by Sun will get hit. Mars along with this combination, going through difficult accidents and something like that, because I don't want to tell the negatives, because people will start seeing their charts and searching all these things. Seventh house, yeah, relationships, partnerships, business, all this is seen from the seventh house. Many other things are seen, but let me restrict there. Difficult to choose a partner. This is a very peculiar thing I am seeing nowadays, that people are having a lot of it is not that they want everything right. They don't know what is right for them. That is the situation as on date, that people are suffering from indecisiveness because they don't know what is right for them. And this happens when Venus and Ketu are in the seventh house, and if it gets afflicted. If it is not afflicted, usually they don't get married at all, because Venus is the Karaka for the 12th house. Ketu is the Karaka for the 12th house. And these two sitting in the 7th house, and because when Venus unafflicted sitting in the 7th house causes Karako Bhavanashaya for the 7th house. Likewise, Ketu sitting in the 7th house causes moksha. As good as that. So who wants to get married when there are planets like Venus and Ketu in the 7th house? Be happy. You are here on earth. Enjoy your life on earth. Whatever service you want to do it and be happy. But if it gets afflicted, you will get married. And you will go through Ragam, Talam, Pallavi. Just trying to tell that Raga, Tala, Pallavi means the Raga is the music, Tala is the rhythm, and the Pallavi is the song of the, God bless. So people will have to go through the samsaric difficulties. So there is another difficulty with Ketu and Venus. If they both are weakly posited in the seventh house, then the doubtful nature of the native over his spouse will be evident. Very finicky, obsessed, and there will be trust issues which might come in the way of their married life. I have seen 90% of the divorces today are happening only because there is loss of faith and there is distrust. Forget about the love. They have married only because they liked each other. And they divorced not because they don't like each other, because there is no trust. There is no more trust. So, eighth house, lot of hidden obsessions, cynical way of thinking. That is, there is a loss of integrity, jealousy, lying. That is, they do not have confidence and trust on themselves. Why does a person lie? If anybody think like that, because I was talking to one of the darshanacharyas. There is a Sanskrit you know chapter on darshana. I met him many years back, I think in 2008-9. This darshanacharya was teaching about the darshanas as to they, small verbs are all explained in detail there. And there was that day he was teaching on why does a person lie and different kinds of dishonesty and how people lie. He was describing all that to his students, and I was there walking around. I was the administrator of that school. So I just went and sat next to him, and after the class, I just asked him, you give me an example as to how a nice, a good ethical person, how can he lie? So he gave me a very beautiful example. So he told about himself. He told that I also lie. I told, how come? You are a darshanacharya, you know all these things. You don't know, I'm a human being. Today I have short closed the class by 10 minutes. I told the students that it's enough for today. I have taught you a lot. You people go and practice. But I have told a lie. I told, how come? He told, my wife is cooking something. You can't smell that. It's so beautiful. And I'm hungry. It's already time. I want to go and eat. He told, man, okay. So what he is telling here is that if a person does not consciously perform his duties and he himself is robbing or stealing something from his own self, his karma, his real conscious effort or the deed, he is trying to stop himself doing it by putting a small clause telling that, okay, I will cover it up tomorrow, the teaching. We both started laughing. He told, okay, come and join inside. She's preparing something very nice. It's the frying that something onion is fried. The smell is coming. The aroma is so beautiful. So that's why I couldn't control my hunger. I told, yes, that's also lying, within himself. So that is the level of detailing which the Sanskrit texts of India still possess. And luckily, whatever is left over, I would ask people with, who have time to do the research, take up subject by subject and start doing some research and study it, or else we will lose the heritage, whatever India had produced thousands of years ago, with lot of perseverance and lot of penance, our munis and gurujis, teachers from the Nalanda University or down to all the major universities of Takshashila, Nalanda, Varanasi, even so down south in Agastya's ashrams, they had done a lot of research, and these texts are available in the Indian libraries. Please ask for a soft copy and start doing the research, or else we are the last generation who know this. I don't think even the next generation is bothered about this. So at least you people can do something like AI now, so you can apply this to AI, so that at least the next future generation who knows how to only study things through AI, at least they will get this in the library. They can take out books of Ayurveda, Shushurtas, Shastras, Panini Sutras. They can take out and they study. Excellent. So let us go into this. Uh, Ninth house. And that's what I'm talking. Okay. Deep knowledge of one's own religion, culture, difficult to father's health. It is seen. Difficulty to father's health is seen. Higher studies, this timing and all those things will have to be seen as to when the difficulty will happen and all those things in the later classes when we do the delineation of a chart. So higher studies and PhDs, going into releasing papers, fellowships, double doctorates, all these things the people can do. This is one of the most best combinations for Ketu and Venus being in the ninth house, because you will have Rahu in the third house. A fantastic placement. Professions mentioned in Venus and Rahu with a twist. So please go to my previous video, video number 510. So this is 511. So all professions mentioned with Venus and Rahu, because that is an axis. When Venus is sitting with Rahu, that very clearly means that Ketu is in that combination. And when Venus is with Ketu, 100% Rahu is in the combination, because these are a couple and they always move in tandem. There is no way that you can separate their significations entirely, cut it and talk, because there are opposites, but they are opposites because they are sitting like that. So take all those professions and add one drop of perfection into it. Add that drop of perfection which will change the whole color. It is like adding an iodine, that blue color of coloring, and then the whole thing changes into blue. So it is something like Ketu is such a powerful planet that if there is a doctor who is doing uh, surgeries, let's say Venus and Rahu would do surgeries of fissures and piles, because Venus blood circulation and it happens in the anal region, and the piles operation. Rahu Venus, yes, they will be experts in that particular area. And with Ketu and Venus, the same perfectionist will be doing it in a very different way, like cryosurgery. He'll freeze it. Rather than going and operating it, they will do it with cryosurgery. All, with blast of cold, freezing air, and they will freeze it, and then it will get broken down, melt, and it will go away. So, whenever you go through surgeries, just apply Ketu there. When Venus and Rahu is there, you can get the best thing out of it. Like, for example, a boutique with a refined taste, very expensive, a sculptor who is not, there are two methodologies of understanding what the sculptor is doing. If you, when a sculptor was asked, a Rahu sculptor was asked, what are you doing? He says that I am trying to make a statue out of this stone. And the same question was asked for a Ketu guy. So what are you doing? So he is telling, I am chipping away all that is not necessary. Both are same. So Rahu is trying to bring out the statue from the stone. So he is also doing the same thing. Ketu is also doing the same thing, but his ideology is, I am trying to clean the waste. I'll remove the waste. Whatever remains is the the sculpture. So
Rahu will be a normal painting.
yeah.
Ketu comes, it will be an abstract painting.
Exactly. Normal impressions, and Ketu is abstract painting. Excellent. So a person with attitude or too much of self respect, esteem, high esteem, because they can leave a job, before the pin drops to the ground, they will have told, I am going. Because once it's hurt, Venus and Ketu never stay in a place. So, if they are not, acknowledged and respected. 11th house. A yoga, a very clear placement of Venus is like relish, Ketu is like renounce. So, what to do? Relish or renounce? Better do nothing. They take sannyasa. So, the 11th house with Ketu and Venus very clearly gives rise to sannyasa yoga with hatha yoga, and they will enjoy the five tattvas but will be never attached to it. Doesn't mean that these people will all wear their cloaks and keep walking with a bigger bowl. Please don't have that ideology of sannyasis. Sannyasis are not beggars. There are many sannyasis who are living amongst us. You see them, you'll understand that they have a very detached way of life, detached way of living. They will be extremely strong scholars, but nowhere near to beggars. Don't think like that, because the depiction of in many stories, it is like a sannyasi means a person having a robe, a stick, and a beggar bowl. A wrong depiction. It's a wrong depiction. Why not think that a sannyasi is here because he wants to refine the definition of society, the ways and means of the community has to live. Many, many, many sannyasis in India have given their heart and soul in research of how humanity can be refined. So, sannyasis have a very strong and a very high place in our tradition and in Indian practices, particularly in Vedic practice. So, going to the 12th house. So, let me tell you a story for the 12th house. I keep telling stories. People don't like it. I have encountered two or three comments where people tell that please don't tell stories. We are not here for stories. You only tell what has to be told and you close the video. This is my style of explaining. I cannot, it's not an ATM that you swipe your card and I give, the notes come out. No, I tell it with the story. This is my way of teaching and I will tell. So the story here is that I had seen an hypnotic show in which an hypnotist was on the stage with 10 to 12 participants, voluntary participants, who were all from the audience. So in that, one girl was there also sitting there. So a girl, a lady. So he gave everybody a fruit. Okay. So he gave the girl one lemon. Everybody had apples, oranges, not oranges, apples. So something which you can bite into, guavas and bananas or papayas, which are all cut in bowls. So he had given, but except for that girl, he gave one lemon. So strawberries, everything were there. There were 12 different kinds of fruits he had given to all of them. So from the first to the 11th, He had asked him to tell the truth. Then what are you eating? So when he had come to the 12th one, he had earlier told that girl that you are going to taste strawberry. It's going to be very tasty, juicy, and when you bite, you get that beautiful taste out of it. So that was given to her. So everybody were telling exactly the fruit what they ate. And when it came to the girl, she bit into the lemon, you know, thinking it is strawberry. And the expression was, wow, it's so tasty, great. Her eyes were closed, totally hypnotized. And she was experiencing strawberry when she was eating lemon. The problem is, Venus and Ketu will hypnotize you and your taste buds, your eyesight, the way you see, the perception, the way you listen to. So the 12th house is for the panchendriyas, all the five senses: the touch, the taste, the sight, the sound, and the smell. So these panchendriyas, one or the other, or I don't know how many, depending on the intensity, and if Venus and Ketu are weak, it will start malfunctioning. That means if 10 of us are telling that this food is good, the 11th with Venus and Ketu, which is badly posited in the 12th house, will simply reject the food and is unable to take it in the mouth. That person will vomit. They cannot eat it anymore. So, distaste. The panchendriyas will malfunction. And again, you need to understand who is dominant. The more the degree of Venus, the less the degree of Ketu. Who has achieved more longitude, everything matters. The Shadbala matters for Venus. And with all this, you need to see the lordship and the position from moon and sun also. So thank you very much for today's class.